He was called useless and thrown out by his own father. What happened next defies belief. Once in a bustling market town humming with life lived a salt merchant. He provided for his family, a wife and 2 sons, through his trade. His younger son was a whirlwind of confidence, charming and outgoing. But the elder son, he was different. Crippling shyness was his constant companion, making him hesitant, his words often lost before they were spoken. Many townsfolk mistook his quiet nature for foolishness, his reserve for a lack of wit. Some, sensing vulnerability, took advantage of his gentle spirit, yet he bore their slights in silence. This deeply frustrated his father. The merchant, a man of action and trade, couldn't comprehend his son's timidity and often berated him, his harsh words chipping away at the boy's already fragile self-worth. As the years passed, this deep-seated lack of confidence cast a long shadow over the elder son's life. It hampered his education. During exams, fear would seize his mind, making it impossible to recall answers or articulate his thoughts. Learning became a struggle. When he reached young adulthood, his father, perhaps hoping responsibility would forge strength, asked him to join the family salt business. Terrified of failing the man he so desperately wanted to please, he agreed. But his nervousness was a constant saboteur, leading to errors that only fueled his father's impatience and anger. One fateful day, while the merchant was away on business, disaster struck. Shrewd, opportunistic men arrived at the shop. "Your father sent us," they declared smoothly. "We're to take all these salt sacks to the city market for him." Doubt flickered in the young man's mind, but his ingrained fear of confrontation, his inability to question authority, paralyzed him. Before he could muster a challenge, the thieves had loaded up and vanished with nearly all the merchant's stock. When his father returned to an almost empty shop, his fury was volcanic. "You fool!" he roared, his voice echoing with betrayal and loss. "You let them walk away with everything. You've ruined me. Get out of my sight. Never return." The words struck the young man like physical blows. Utterly devastated, crushed by his father's rage, the mocking whispers of the townspeople he imagined, and the suffocating weight of his own perceived incompetence, he felt utterly worthless. Heartbroken and adrift, he wandered aimlessly until he reached the riverbank. The water flowed, dark and indifferent. "There's no point," a voice whispered in his mind. "Living is pointless. I'll always be a failure, a burden." Shame washed over him, cold and absolute. He stepped toward the edge, ready to let the current take him. Just as he braced himself to jump, a hand clamped onto his arm, pulling him back with surprising strength. He turned, angry and confused, to see a young disciple, his eyes filled with concern. "Why did you stop me?" the young man cried, anguish raw in his voice. "My life is useless. I can't do anything right. Let me go." The disciple held firm, his voice gentle but unwavering. "Life is a precious gift, given only once. While you draw breath, you have the chance to overcome any failure, to rise above any mistake and find success. But if you surrender now, you will never discover the strength you truly possess." Tears streaming down his face, the young man poured out his sorrows. "I am shy, weak, a coward. My own father despises me. I have no learning. People call me a fool. Tell me, does someone like me even deserve to live?" A serene smile touched the disciple's lips. "My master can answer that question far better than I. Come with me." Initially resistant, lost in his despair, the young man eventually allowed himself to be persuaded, following the disciple to his master's ashram. There, beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient tree, sat a great saint, radiating an aura of profound peace, deep in meditation. The disciple and the young man bowed respectfully. The moment the young man looked upon the saint's tranquil face, the dam of his grief broke, and he sobbed uncontrollably. "Why do you weep, my child?" the saint asked, his voice calm and kind. You are my last hope," the young man choked out between sobs. "If even you cannot help me, then my life truly has no meaning. I will end it." The saint listened patiently, asking him to share his burden. The young man recounted his entire life, his fears, his failures, his father's rejection, the crushing weight of his perceived inadequacy. After listening intently, the saint nodded slowly. "There is a path forward for you, but first you must trust me completely and follow my instructions precisely for the next 3 days. If you complete these tasks, I promise you, your life will transform." Desperate for any glimmer of hope, the young man readily agreed. Day 1. Go into the town, the saint instructed. Approach 10 complete strangers. Ask them about their lives, their joys, their struggles. Listen well, and write down what they tell you. Hesitation warred with desperation, but the young man obeyed. It was terrifying at first. Some people ignored him. A few were abrupt, even rude. But he persisted. By evening, he had spoken to 10 people. He'd heard stories, shared moments, and surprisingly, even made a couple of tentative connections. A flicker of accomplishment warmed him as he returned to the saint and reported his success. Day 2. Today, the saint announced, you must find 10 young students and teach them about the importance of water. The young man stared aghast. But master, I have no real education. How can I possibly teach anyone anything? The saint simply smiled. Those children do not carry your doubts. They don't know you feel uneducated. Share what you do know, however simple it seems to you. Nerves frayed, the young man stood before a small group of children. His hands trembled, his voice quaked. But he began. He spoke of 5 simple, vital uses for water. It was brief, and he fled as soon as he finished. Returning to the saint, he stammered, I was so scared, master, but I did it. The saint replied calmly, good. Now go back and try again. This time, fueled by the saint's quiet confidence and his own small taste of success, the young man spoke with a little more clarity, a little more assurance. By the end of his second impromptu lesson, he realized something profound. The fear was lessening. You see, the saint praised gently upon his return. You possess more courage than you believe. Day 3, the saint presented the final, most daunting challenge. Today you must return to your father's house. You must face him and humbly ask for his forgiveness. Terror seized the young man. No, master, please. He'll never forgive me. He despises me. I cannot face his anger again. The saint's gaze was firm but compassionate. This is the final step. If you refuse this, I cannot offer you the solution you seek. Summoning every ounce of courage he had unearthed over the past 2 days, the young man walked the heavy path back home. He stood before his father, head bowed, voice trembling but clear. He apologized sincerely for his past mistakes, for the loss he had caused, and he promised, with newfound resolve, to prove he could be worthy of trust. Seeing the undeniable change in his son, the quiet strength replacing the crippling fear, the merchant's stern facade softened. Perhaps with a mix of surprise and hope, he forgave his son and offered him another chance to help with the business. Returning to the ashram, his heart lighter than it had been in years, the young man eagerly asked the saint, Master, I have done as you asked. Now, please, tell me the secret. How do I find lasting success and confidence? The saint smiled, a knowing light in his eyes. My child, you have already discovered it. You completed the journey yourself. Your greatest enemy was never your shyness, nor the opinions of others. It was your own fear, the doubt you carried within. People perceive you largely as you present yourself. Even when you felt weak, you acted with courage these past days. You chose to act confidently, and thus you began to feel it. True strength, true confidence is forged in the crucible of action, born from believing in yourself, even when it feels difficult. Tears welled in the young man's eyes once more, but this time they were tears of gratitude and understanding. He bowed deeply before the saint. I understand now, master. Thank you. I will not let fear dictate my life any longer. I will show myself and the world what I am truly capable of. Years passed. The once timid, hesitant boy, haunted by self-doubt, transformed. He became a respected merchant in his own right, known not just for his business acumen, but for his wisdom, his quiet confidence, and his compassionate understanding, forged in the fires of his own past struggles. This story reminds us that confidence isn't always something we're born with. It's a skill we build, a muscle we strengthen through conscious effort. Even the shyest soul holds the potential for incredible strength, waiting to be unlocked by the decision to believe in oneself. Our most significant limitations often exist only within the confines of our own minds. Fear and self-doubt are powerful chains, but courage, persistence, and the willingness to take that first small step can break them. The young man believed he was destined for failure, but by confronting his deepest fears head-on, he rewrote his entire destiny. Confidence blossoms when we dare to step outside our comfort zone, even just a little, each day. The world often mirrors back the image we project. Believe in your own worth. Take those small, consistent steps forward, and you too will discover reserves of strength you never knew you possessed. If this story resonated with you or offered a spark of inspiration, please show your support. Give it a like, Share it with friends or family who might need this message today. And be sure to subscribe for more stories about overcoming challenges and finding your inner power.